Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Super Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's Super Tuesday guest, but as always, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, you've heard me say before, these are all companies that I used as an athletic director, and I really recommend that you try them out. So take a listen to our shout outs. It's only going to take about 3 minutes. Then listen to our guest, and then go visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Gipper for their support of the podcast. You know, it's all about social media today. Your kids are on it, your parents are on it. And if you're not creating content to celebrate your teams and your athletes, you're really missing out on a great opportunity. Go to Gipper.com. Their team is going to show you how to create world class content in seconds. And it's so incredibly easy, even I can do it. Gipper's used and trusted by over 4,000 high school and college programs across the country. It's professional graphic design made simple. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day for things like scheduling, uploading rosters and scores, communicating with your stakeholders. How about student athlete eligibility and clearance? Who doesn't work on that every day? Home Campus does all these things. It's going to do them better. It's going to do them faster. And it's going to give you a lot more time back in your schedule. To get started, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. We want to thank Ohio University's online master's in athletic administration. This affordable 20-month program, totally online, is not only going to allow you to earn your master's degree, but you're also going to complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses to use towards your CAA or your RAA. To get started, all you have to do is go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more. We want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their scoreboards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. We want to say thanks to our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an AD, I wanted a platform that was going to work for all of our teams, and Huddle came through like a champ. Our coaches loved it, our student athletes loved it, even our parents loved all the tools that Huddle provided. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We'd also like to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record board or your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's also a great way to share your school's unique history and your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Snap. Go to snapraise.com. Hands down, the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with tremendous success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it because it works. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their other great platforms, but if you're looking for a fundraiser, you found it. Go to snapraise.com. And we want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic directors already get feedback, but it's usually from a very small group that want to complain about everything. Athletic surveys will connect you to that group, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your stakeholders that support your program. And that information is tremendously valuable, especially when you're meeting with a frustrated parent or maybe your principal or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Super Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We've got one of our good friends back for another segment, Asia Mape. If you're a regular listener, you know all about her. But if you're new, let me tell you a little bit about Asia Mape. She is the co-founder and probably the number one content contributor to a great resource called I Love to Watch You Play. Now, her background, she's an athlete in high school and college. Career-wise, she was a long-time producer in the world of sports, an Emmy-winning producer, if I may say, for NBC. She did Olympics, she did features, and she is really a voice on a national scale for helping parents and kids and coaches and even ADs have the best athletic experience possible. So we're very excited to have Asia Mape back on Super Tuesday. Asia, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Jake. I appreciate you having me.
Well, again, the website that you created, co-founded, I love to watch you play. Tremendous resource for ADs and coaches. We'll give out that information later, but what do you have for our listeners this week on Super Tuesday?
Yeah, so again, thank you for this time. I love supporting what you're doing and being a part of it. So I appreciate it. I know we record these early, but we're in May right now, and this, you said, may not even record or play out for a few months, but it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And this is something that, I was kind of surprised to find out has been going on since 1949. So Mental Health Awareness Month since 1949. I thought that was pretty amazing because I don't know why we think of so many of these problems, being a recent phenomenon, and they've always been there, and they've always been there for athletes as well. And, I really want to keep the conversation going. I was just doing a news show segment about this because of it was May, but I think this is something we need to talk about, not even just every month, but like every day, the problems affecting our kids and our athletes. We just see it in so clear such a way. And there's lots of studies being done now that are help even sort of crystallizing what the issues are and what's going on. But so this is what I want to discuss today. I want to start out with some statistics. In 2023, they did a study at the NCAA and found that 61% of Division II student athletes felt overwhelmed by their responsibilities. Mental health problems include anxiety, feeling sad or overwhelmed. And actually, this was interesting, Jake. They've actually improved since 2020, but still there's so much work to be done. 44% of females felt overwhelmed by all they had to do across all the divisions, 17% of males. So I thought that was kind of interesting. There's definitely seems to be a higher ratio of females. 35 and 16 felt mentally exhausted, and 29% of women, 9% of the men felt anxiety. Academic planning, this was interesting too, and for the future was 2 times more concerning than playing time or issues with the coach. So it seems like a lot of these athletes, I think they put so much into their high school careers that by the time they get to college, it's interesting. The stress has switched from less from playing time and less to issues with the coach to more about what are they going to do next? Because for a lot of them, they've only been playing sports. Here's some good news, I think. 70% of student athletes reported knowing where to go on campus and having people on campus they can trust to provide mental health support when needed. So that seems to be up and a pretty good number. Half reported feeling comfortable seeking support. That actually has to go up a lot more. I think part of the problem, right, is that athletes are, we're taught to be strong and not have any problems and kind of just deal with it and persevere. And so they really need, I think that's been a big topic, which is they need to have people they can go to on campus or in high schools, people they can trust and talk to if it's not their parents or their coach or somebody else. This was not a great number, but the percentage of athletes who felt their coaches cared about their mental health issues has declined. And of course, I don't know why that is. I hope to get some maybe feedback from the NCAA or interview somebody who can shed some light on some of these numbers and why they're changing. But those are just some of the stats to kind of set up the problem. And now I want to go into a little bit, when it's done right, I think there's such a weird contrast you hear. Sports are so healthy, sports are so good, get them off the screens, they do all these great things. And I certainly believe in that. And I believe when sports are done right, they can do so many positive things. They're a game changer, literally, especially for female athletes. And there's tons of statistics to back that up. They provide connection and, again, time off the phone and together with their other peers, and fun, or it should. And then that health component, moving your body and, breathing and your heart and all these things, sports can provide a training ground for life where kids learn to win with grace, or they learn to fail. And they have to dig in and experience hard work. They may even, get a little grit along that journey. And they learn about leadership and community and working with others. So anyways, what I'm getting at is there's so many amazing things, right? And that's why we all put our kids in sports early on, because we see all these benefits. But here's the big but, right? It's when it's done right, because sports alone doesn't guarantee all these great things. And in fact, sadly, it often will bring about the complete opposite. So why is that? Like, what's the big picture here? And I've read a lot. There's a lot of books I want to sort of reference, like Linda Flanagan's Take Back the Game. A lot of these issues are talked about in her book, or Never Enough by Jennifer Brenny Wallace. But we have a problem, and adults and the professionalization and commercialization of youth sports are ruining it for our kids. And instead of getting all those great benefits, they're quitting, they're depressed, they're anxious. Their mental health is suffering. 70% are going to quit by the age of 13. And the number one reason is because it's no longer fun. It's really pretty that simple. It's no longer fun. Adults have taken the fun. We've created this professionalization of youth sports starting at a really young age. David Epstein, who the New York Times bestselling author, who I've had on a lot on my podcast and write about him a lot. He said this, and I thought it was so important. I'm sure I probably even said it to you, Jake, before, but we're creating these amazing 15 and 16-year-old athletes, but they're peaking at that age, and then they physically and mentally break down. We are at a breaking point. And now with NIL and women's sports gaining popularity, which are great things independently, but I feel like it's even going to just add to that growing pressure that these kids are feeling. And so what are we as parents doing? I think it's like a scarcity mindset. We're trying to get these kids into the best schools and a college scholarship. And even coaches are more concerned about outcomes and, that their U9 travel ball ranking than they are about fun, development, and raising good humans. Everyone's looking for that ROI. Parents are paying thousands of dollars and traveling, to Timbuktu every weekend, and they want a return on that investment, and they want results. And the kids are the ones that are losing because of it. And that's where all this I think a lot of these mental health issues are coming from. We've created a stressful, win at all cost experience that counteracts one of the most valuable reasons for the existence of youth sports, which is better health. So we're caught in a system that doesn't value the sole reason it exists, the athletes. It's now all about all these other things, and we've forgotten what the real value of youth sports should be about. I have a friend whose daughter just told her mom she wants to quit lacrosse. She's 9 and she's begging her to quit. She's so anxious to go to practice, doesn't want to go to the games. She told her mom, it feels like everyone hates me because I'm not good. She can hear the snickers of the parents when she messes up, and she hears when she walks off the field, like, oh, put so and so in. Like, it's such a pressure cooker. She's 9 years old. She used to love going to lacrosse practice, and now she's crying in the car. Athletes and mental illness, have been in the news a lot. And I think part of the positive around it is that there's a lot more famous athletes like Simone Biles and Kevin Love, Abby Wambach, Michael Phelps, that are openly talking about it and sharing information about it. And I think that's been a huge bonus and something that needs to continue if we're going to actually make even more progress on this. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I think part of the problem is the mixed messages athletes receive. We tell them they need to be tough and fight through and never give up. But then we preach mental health. And, when someone's in trouble and hurting, they don't want to tell their coach. They don't want to tell their teammates. They feel unsafe sharing that they're struggling or have some sort of weakness. And so the problems worsen. Again, there are, it's good news, 70% will share, and those are NCAA athletes, by the way, do know how to get help. 50% feel comfortable getting help, but those numbers need to be up in the hundreds, right? Or at 100. Here's a few things you can look for, and look, burnout, anxiety, stress, depression, all this falls under the mental health problems. But if you're a parent and you have a youth athlete, you can look for like appetite drastically changing, mood swings, they're irritable, aggressive, sensitive, change in their social habits. They don't want to hang out with their teammates anymore as much or at all. Energy level changes, they're sleeping all the time, they don't have energy to do stuff. Some level of their self-care changes, their sleep patterns are changed, and a sudden loss of interest in practicing or training. Stomach pains and frequent headaches, those can present, stress can present that way, or anxiety. Loss of enjoyment or pride in what they're doing. They seem more negative about the coach or their teammates or their own play on the field when they used to take pride in it and, be excited. Or just poor performance. And of course, performance for youth athletes rises and falls all the time, but if it seems to be no apparent reason and sticks around for a while. And again, I kind of mentioned this, but detached from the team, they don't really want to do much with the team. So keep your eyes out for those things. And, as far as what you can do and possibly, obviously see if it's serious or you really notice some of these, get help. What I'm talking about, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist. These are just some things to look for. But if you're seriously concerned about your child, get the help they need from a professional. But some things parents can do is, and possibly the most important change, and I've kind of mentioned already, is that we need to redefine success. When winning or a college scholarship is the sole yardstick of your youth sports experience, we miss those subtle and important victories from nurturing or making it inclusive, enjoyable, and like a lifelong relationship and love with sports, not just all about these end results, and until we stop demanding our children perform like many adults and professionalizing youth sports and pressuring them to perform, nothing will change. An athlete's worth should not be judged by the scoreboard or championships or medals, but rather by whether or not they want to sign up to play again, especially at these young ages. It's just, we're really focusing on the wrong things. And I'm not saying that all of the mental health problems come from this, but I think that we're definitely not helping, making things worse. And in some cases, we are causing them. So I think parents can play, and coaches, a big role in, really kind of helping this, support, don't pressure, be that smiling face in the crowd. Don't talk to them after about the game right unless they want to. Listen to your kids, really listen. And I talk about this all the time because, as you know well, Jake, with my own daughter, a lot of this, I went wrong in this area, but when they're ready and want to make a change or need a break, you need to adjust with them. You need to listen and see who they are, what they want. And they're going to change all the time. And so, just because my daughter at 9 wanted to play water polo in the Olympics doesn't mean at 15 she had the same goals. So pay attention to that. Get a mindful practice for yourself so you can separate yourself from your child's journey because it's theirs, not yours. Don't hijack it. Take agency. Don't do every camp and every showcase just because everyone's doing it. And that's that FOMO there. Step back, look at your kid. What does your kid need? What are your family values? And don't be afraid to have agency around that and educate yourself. Know the signs, know the right people to talk to, and read, find out everything you can. And, just tell them you love to watch them play. And there's a lot of great resources out there. I don't specialize in mental health on my site. I definitely specialize in support versus pressure in a lot of these topics, but there's find the information and be aware because it's a big problem.
Boy, you probably saw me scribbling down notes there. A ton of topics. I love how you continuously you talked about mental health, but not as, let's say, in an old way, that 1949 way, mental illness, but mental fitness, mental strength. It's such when I was an athlete 100 years ago, nobody ever talked about that. But now, as you mentioned, the research is so clear on kids are going to perform better and they're going to be healthier and all things healthy if there's some mental training and a focus on mental health. Great stuff. I wish we had more time to talk about some of those things. Um, let's talk about something that's really positive, and that is your website. I'd love to watch you play. If one of our listeners is not familiar with that, how do they find it? And maybe how do they reach out and pick your brain a little bit more if they want to find out some additional information?
Yeah, thanks, Jake. It's I love to watch you play, allwrittenout.com. That's the website. On there I have all the social links, but if we're pretty big on Facebook, which is the same. I love to watch you play written out. On Instagram, it's the I love to watch you play. And sign up for the newsletter. There's typically every week I'm sending out sort of the best stuff from that week and interesting things I think sports parents might like.
And again, as an athletic director, as a coach, as a parent of athletes, it's a tremendous tool to have in your toolbox. I love to watch you play. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. Asia, always great to connect with you. You're always you're all over social media, which I think is great for our profession. All the best moving forward, and please let us know if we can do anything down the road.
Thanks so much. And Jake, you said where can they reach me? I love when people reach out to me. I'm always happy to take those. That's Asia at I love to watch you play.com. So I just wanted to add that in. And thank you so much, Jake, for having me today.
Oh, absolutely. For our listeners, we want to say thanks to you. And just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this every single week, sharing best practices for ADs, coaches, leaders, and even parents. So we hope you come back for another episode of Super Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Hey, before we go, as always, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Gipper, Huddle, Hometown Ticketing, Snap, Raise Fundraising, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, the Ohio University Online Master's Program, Home Campus, Sideline Interactive, and athleticsurveys.com. Check out all these sponsors. You're going to be glad you did. And thanks again for listening to Super Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast.